Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. Welcome to everyone's Thursday 13 on Before Coffee, the father and daughter news show where we look at our news stories 10 to 15 minutes before we start without any caffeine in our body. So let's find out what the headlines are today. Today on Before Coffee, Google's AI model faces European Union scrutiny from privacy watchdog.
And murder victim's family drags Trump for lying about speaking to them.
British government orders inquiry into murder of Pat Finucane by UDA.
And it's Thursday 13. We have 13 stories that fell through our cracks.
For culture news, the VMAs were last night, so what the hell happened? And I hear Taylor Swift got another huge award. Just everyone, she's the best.
And Taylor Swift is also among our Thursday 13. And it's also National Chocolate Milkshake Day, September 12th, 2024 on Before Coffee.
That's right. A lot of Taylor Swift in the news today because she's probably the best human to ever be born, according to the headlines anyways. I'm sure she's a great person, but she's still a billionaire. And my number one rule is never trust a billionaire.
Well, she wasn't born a billionaire. Let's give her a little credit.
Her parents weren't exactly not well off. If you have parents that can
and she gives her money away.
Drop their jobs and move to Tennessee just for your dreams, you have some pretty big privilege there. But let's stop talking about Taylor Swift and instead let's talk about corporations being held accountable for things they do, because that's one of my favorite topics. And that's why I love the EU so much, because of regulations. This is by Kelvin Chan on AP News. European Union regulators said today, this is, what is it again? 12th of September, they're investigating one of Google's artificial intelligence models over concerns about its compliance with the bloc's strict data privacy rules. Ireland's Data Protection Commission said it has opened an inquiry into Google's Pathways Language Model 2, also known as PAL M2. It's part of their wider efforts, including by other national watchdogs across the 27-nation bloc, to scrutinize how AI systems handle personal data. Google's European headquarters are based in Dublin, so the Irish watchdog acts as the company's lead regulator for the bloc's privacy rulebook, known as the General Data Protection Regulation, or GDPR. That's the same thing that happened in the Netherlands. I forget what company it was, but they also had to go into the inquiry. Oh, Uber. Uber's offices are in the Netherlands, so the Netherlands has to take care of any of the regulation that has to do with Uber. So that's the same problem here. It's in Ireland, so Ireland has to take care of all of Google's regulations. The Commission said it wants to know if Google has assessed whether PAL M2's data processing would likely result in higher risk to rights and freedoms of individuals in the EU. Large language models like PAL M2 are the vast troves of data that act as building blocks for artificial intelligence systems. Google uses PAL M2 to power a range of generative AI services, including email summarizing. The company said it would assist with the watchdog's inquiry. Oh, interesting. So if you get a really long email, PAL M2 can just say, TDL, too long, didn't read. It says this. Do your report or you're fired, whatever the long emails. We take seriously our obligations under the GDPR and will work constructively with the DPC to answer their questions, Google said in a statement. The Irish watchdog said earlier this month that Elon Musk's social media platform Twitter has agreed to permanently stop processing user data for its AI chatbot Grok. The platform did so only after the watchdog took it to court the month before, filing an urgent high court application to get Twitter to suspend or restrict or prohibit processing of personal data contained in public posts by its users. Meta Platforms paused its plan to use content posted by European users to train the latest version of its large language model after apparent pressure from Irish regulators. The decision followed intensive engagement between the two, the watchdog said in June. Italy's data privacy regulator last year temporarily banned ChatGPT because of data privacy breaches, and demanded the chatbot's maker OpenAI meet a set of demands to resolve the concerns. That's right, here in Europe at least, they're taking using people's personal data to train AI very seriously, because, I mean, there is, I'm pretty sure, a clause on most of these social media posts that whatever you post on there is now owned by them. Some of them do have a clause like that. So if you post a video on TikTok, you don't own the video anymore. TikTok owns it, for example. I'm not sure if TikTok actually has that clause, by the way, but that is kind of where this is coming from. So I do want to look at this story, really short story, what happened. I think this is about the chat GPT, which this happened back in January, on January 30th, that the Italian regulators said they told OpenAI that its ChatGPT artificial intelligence chatbot had violated the European Union's stringent data privacy rules. The country's data protection authority, known as Garante, said that it notified San Francisco-based OpenAI of breaches of the EU rules known as the General Data Protection Regulation. The watchdog started investigating ChatGPT last year when it temporarily banned within Italy the chatbot that can produce text, images, and sound in response to users' questions. Based on the results of the finding, the watchdog said it concluded that the available evidence pointed to the existence of breaches of the provisions in the EU privacy rules. OpenAI, which had 30 days to reply to the allegations, said it would work constructively with Italian regulators. We believe our practices align with the GDPR and other privacy laws, and we take additional steps to protect people's data and privacy, a company statement said. We want our AI to learn about the world, not about private individuals. We actively work to reduce personal data in training our systems like ChatGPT, which also rejects requests for private or sensitive information about people. The company said last year it had fulfilled a raft of conditions that the Garante demanded to get the ChatGPT ban lifted. Yep, that's true. I think there's even funny stuff you can do with some chatbots. Like I think on Snapchat, there's a chatbot now. And you can ask it, where am I? And it'll say, I don't have permission to look at your location, right? But then if you say, local McDonald's near me, it'll be like, there is a McDonald's located 5.2 miles, you know? It's like, wait, so you know where I'm located, but you don't know where I'm located. Because to be fair, if you ask the bot will say, well, I know where you're located because I know where your IP address is. So they trace your IP and they say, well, your IP is here, so you might be near your IP address. For example, my IP address is nowhere near where I live. It's actually in a totally different town than where I live. So if somebody would trace my IP address, they would think I live in a totally different village than I do. Which is kind of good that it displaces it like that. But I think if you live in that village and it also is there, you might want to get a VPN to at least make sure nobody knows where you actually live. Because it's pretty easy to trace an IP address. But that's why VPNs become so popular, not just from other people, but from all these AI models that are pulling your information and finding out your address and doxing you, you know, which is why they have to have all these regulations, because they have to be like, no, you can't just, you know, learn people's credit card numbers for your AI model. That's not necessary. But there's my story on AI. I know we haven't talked about AI since the beginning of the year, really. It was all the rage back at the beginning of the year. But it's still happening, it's still going on. And everyone's still trying to make sure that AI models aren't stealing your data and using it for their own nefarious deeds.
Of course, AI is just going to ruin everything by getting things completely wrong and people thinking that it's actual truth.
That's my story.
So, I guess that's your stories. All right, throwing it over. Okay, so we have a story from New Republic. Murder victim's family drags Trump for lying about speaking to them. This is from Ellie Quinlan Houteling of thenewrepublic.com. Donald Trump's virulent anti-immigration campaign series offered an unexpected shout-out to a group of people who didn't want it. The family of murder victim Ruby Garcia. She lit up that room, and I've heard that from so many people, Trump claimed Tuesday at a news conference at Garcia's home of Grand Rapids, Michigan. I spoke to some of her family. But Garcia's family said the GOP presidential nominee has never reached out to them. Instead, they were at home watching as Trump turned their family's loss into a political stunt. He did not speak with any of us, so it's kind of shocking to see that he had said that he had spoke with us and misinforming people on live TV. Garcia's sister, Mavi Garcia, told affiliate Target 8, noting that not only had Trump not reached out to the family, but neither had anyone from his campaign. It was shocking. I kind of stopped watching it. I'd only seen up to that after I heard a couple of misinformations he said. I just stopped watching it, she said.
Yeah.
Garcia, 25, was shot and killed on March 22nd by Brandon Ortiz VT, an undocumented immigrant who confessed to murdering her and dumping her body along the highway in the city. Ortiz VT had previously been deported out of the United States by court order in 2020, and it was unclear when he had re-entered. The defendant, J. Trump, who was a criminal, actual criminal, convicted in court, Trump is one, campaign quickly took notice of the murder, leveraging it as an example of using a rising wave of migrant crime, and claiming that Ortiz VT had been let back in by Joe Biden. Yeah, Joe Biden just went to the freaking border and said, "Yeah, come on in." What did he do? That he had to be not let back in. What crime did he commit? We have no idea. But for some reason, he should have been the only person ever let back in the United States. And it's also been about illegal immigrants. Mavi Garcia told Target 8. Nobody really speaks about when Americans do heinous crimes, and it's kind of shocking. Why would we just bring up illegal? What about Americans who do heinous crimes like that? Which is overwhelmingly most of them are committed by American citizens. Most crimes are committed by American citizens. Immigrants' crime rate is lower for many reasons. One of those is they can't report crimes. They're afraid to get deported. My husband's beating me up, but if I report him, we all get deported.
Yep.
The focus should be on my sister right now. The focus should be on my sister right now. Who she was in life. I want people to remember who she was in life. She had describing Ruby Garcia as very happy and a generous person. Tuesday's speech wasn't even the first time in the last month that Trump lied about his interaction with the grieving family for his own political gain. In March, Trump's campaign issued a statement claiming that he had been invited to attend the funeral of NYPD officer Jonathan Diller by his family, but that really wasn't the case. In reality, the invitation had been extended by Republican Nassau County Executive Bruce Blakeman. Donald Trump has attached the judge in his hush money trial so much that it earned him a massive gag order. Now, Fox News is defending Trump by justifying the attacks. The judge is threatening to put Trump in jail by pointing out that his liberal family is getting rich off the trial. Jesse Waters, he just wants a new judge. What his family isn't funded by Democrats. Oh, God, these fuckers. Why am I repeating this shit? Anyway, so this is the one family standing up for Trump lying. It goes into, we could sit here for weeks and weeks. Okay, so the attack, the claim. Donald Trump hosted back-to-back rallies in 2 states on Tuesday, using his time to attack President Biden's immigration policy to make some extreme promises in regard to his own agenda for the U.S.-Mexico border. That include claiming he'd deport U.S. citizens if undocumented migrants are found invading their homes. If your constitutional rights have been violated, we will defend you. If you're illegal aliens invading your home, we'll deport you, Trump said during a Wisconsin is second stop of the night. The claim, which is alarmingly similar to the policies of another far-right leader who punished civilians for hiding Jews in their homes, could be a direct attack on the controversial program announced last month by Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer's administration. Whitmer's new policies up to $500 subsidies for households that volunteer to shelter refugees. Refugees,
I'm sorry,
my
that's
friends,
a lovely line
not people
there.
that are here to murder
Famous by somebody else who did. I love that
Trump's
line.
Trump's a racist bigot. I'm sorry, what's that?
I love that line where it was like, similar to another politician.
Yeah, another politician named Dolph Hitlerhay.
Yeah.
Old Dolph Hitlerhay did that back in the day. Okay, one more paragraph. Or if it's the phrasing of just another verbal gaffe, it would add to a mountain of evidence that Trump is losing his grip. Over the last several months, Trump has claimed that there were millions of people arriving in places unknown, speaking no language. That's a good one. And that he would stop banks from debanking Americans, or what the hell that means. He has mixed up former White House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley, two different people completely, and described his plan for America's missile defense system by going ding, 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 boom. Okay, missile launch, whoosh, boom. There's your candidate for president, who is senile, old racist. Back to you.
Okay. Somebody should just learn to not speak, but I think it's impossible at that point. Right.
Well, maybe he should just go bing, 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 boom.
Yeah.
Somewhere else.
For our next story, we have an inquiry into the murder of Pat Finucane, who was a Belfast solicitor who was shot dead in 1989 by the Ulster Defence Association, the UDA, in collusion with British forces. So this is by Mark Paul in Westminster and Jack Horgan Jones. Oh, there's so many people. Wait, let me read all these names. 15 people are doing this story. Mark Paul in Westminster, Jack Horgan Jones, and Shannon Graham are all reporting this on the Irish Times. Hilary Benn, Secretary of State for Northern Ireland, who met Tuesday, which was... what was Tuesday's date? The 10th of September, announced the inquiry on the 11th of September afternoon in the House of Commons. Mr. Finucane, 39, was shot dead in his family home in North Belfast in February 1989 by the UDA, an attack found by a series of inquiries to have involved collusion with the state. So somebody somewhere in the state said, hey, can the UDA go take this guy out? For decades, successive UK governments had resisted a campaign by the Finucane family for a full public inquiry into the killing. However, former Prime Minister David Cameron apologized to the family in 2012 for British collusion in the shooting. Okay, apologies are nice, but somebody needs to get... where's the justice? Somebody was murdered. Speaking about the announcement, Pat Finucane's widow, Geraldine Finucane, said she felt a bit shell-shocked at the UK's decision to order a public inquiry after her family's 35-year campaign for justice. So finally, after 35 years, they're getting their inquiry. She expressed faith in the inquiry process, where witnesses are compelled to give evidence in public domain. Earlier, at a press conference, Mrs. Finucane said it had been a long journey to get to this point, and that it was time for the truth to come out after 35 years of cover-up. She said she believed in the public inquiry could be a watershed moment in dealing with the legacy cases of Northern Ireland. I look forward to having the opportunity to participate in a statutory inquiry and expose publicly the whole truth behind the murder of my husband. This has always been the objective of the campaign that my family and I have pursued for the last 35 years. We have only ever been concerned with uncovering the truth. This content isn't... oh. Speaking in the Commons, Mr. Benn said the UK government had previously promised twice to hold the inquiry. First, in 2001, what happened there? In an agreement with the Irish government. Hello, I guess it fell through. And again in 2004, when a UDA gunman was convicted. The plain fact is that for 2 decades, the commitment has been unfulfilled. It is for that reason that I have decided to establish an inquiry, he said. So that's Mr. Benz in the Commons. Said, finally, we're going to give these people the justice they already acquired in 2001, but never actually followed through with it. In 2019, Britain's Supreme Court said all previous examinations of the murder had not been compliant with human rights standards. The court acknowledged Mrs. Finucane had been given an unequivocal undertaking by the UK government following the 2001 Weston Park Agreement that there would be a public inquiry into the murder. However, the Supreme Court judges found that the government had been justified in later deciding against holding one. Okay, so... yes, we're gonna do it. Supreme Court comes in and says, actually, no. The government doesn't have to do it, and you don't have any rights to ask them to do it. So then they didn't hold one up. The court said it was up to the government to decide what form of investigation was now required. The following year, London pushed back a decision on a public inquiry, insisting on outstanding issues concerning the original police investigation needed to be first examined by the police ombudsman for Northern Ireland. In the years since, Mrs. Finucane has pursued further legal proceedings challenging the ongoing delays of the decision. And she's been waiting so long, 35 years. During the summer, the Court of Appeals in Belfast gave the UK government a September deadline to confirm what form of human rights complaint investigation it intended to undertake into the murder. Oh, here we go. Sorry, there's an Irish word I can't pronounce. House Simon Harris welcomed the decision, saying today was a vindication of Geraldine Finucane and her family, who have campaigned over decades for truth and justice. Mr. Harris said he spoke to Mr. Starmer, which is the current UK Prime Minister, about the case, including last Saturday, which was September 7th, when they met in Dublin, and in follow-up to a previous discussion in Chequers in July. I know that the Prime Minister is committed to finding a new approach to legacy issues in Northern Ireland, and today's decision about the British government is in keeping with the spirit of that commitment, he said. President Michael D. Higgins said in a statement, today's confirmation by the Secretary of State for Northern Ireland that the British government will establish a public inquiry into the murder of Pat Finucane is very welcome. Today's decision is an important recognition of the heartbreak that has been carried by Geraldine Finucane and her family for many years, and of their continuous campaigning for the truth. Nationalist politicians in Northern Ireland welcomed the granting of the inquiry, with Sinn Féin Stormont First Minister Michelle O'Neill hailing it a landmark day. This has been long overdue, and one which British governments have previously committed to but never delivered on, she said. Miss O'Neill called on the British government to work closely with the family to ensure the public inquiry meets their needs and uncovers the full truth of this shameful killing. However, DUP leader Gavin Robinson said the decision will heap further hurt on families who have never had anyone convicted of their loved one's murder. Oh no, let's not look for the truth because other people might go through some pain. I'm like, I think that's a sacrifice worth taking, man, to find one truth. If it hurts others, I think the truth is probably the most important thing to me. The UK government announcement perpetuates a hierarchy, Mr. Robinson said, and sent a message that the murder was more deserving investigation than others. Oh, okay. What about meism is what that is. What about me? I have a murder I want to discover. Why doesn't my murder get investigated? Well, I guess you need to bother the government for 35 years, and then it's more deserving. Unfortunately, I'm sorry guys if you don't know this already. Unfortunately, the government is very busy, and I can't look at every single person's personal life and help them. So you have to lobby and annoy them and pester them and poke the beehive until they come out of their hive. They're not going to care about anything you're doing unless you bother them, and that's just a fact of unfortunately how governments work, at least in democracies. So yeah, if you want something done, this is why I've said this before, I think, on the show. This is why corporations get things done for themselves, because they can afford to hire people like 30 lobbyists to just bother the government day on, day out, talking to every single politician at every level until somebody says, I'll help you pass that regulation so that you can exploit your workers, and then they'll work. I'm just an example. But that's why governments get away with so much stuff, because they can afford to bother the government. So that's why if you want something done, you're gonna have to crowdsource, ask your community, hey, let's look into the investigation of why Tom got murdered in 1989, and maybe you'll get the same thing. Let's not make this about other people are more deserving. Well, if they deserve it, you should have done the work. Unfortunately, that's just the world we live in. Traditional Unionist Voice TUV leader Jim Allister also expressed his opposition, said the tragic takeaway for Trouble's victims is that the Independent Commission of Reconciliation and Information Recovery, or the ICRIR, the new UK body set up to examine Trouble's air crimes, is good enough for them, but not for the Finucane family. Well, they just wanted more and they had the power to do it. So don't stop there, I guess. Outgoing SDLP leader Colum Eastwood said the development marked a turning point for legacy investigations. Though some people in the government are jealous or envious that some of these people are being investigated while others aren't, but I think good news, any good news is good news. So good luck on the Finucane family, seeing if they can find out what happened to their murdered father, as Hilary Benn said. She couldn't give the Finucane family their murdered father back, but can now give them transparency and open a new window into what the hell happened in 1989. That's my story. On to Thursday's 13.
Okay.
Unless you wanted to say anything about that story.
Nope, nothing about that story here. Although
yeah,
I had to dig. I thought there would be a lot more stories. Huh?
Yeah, really? Okay.
I'm sorry, you can't hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, okay. All right, today's Thursday 13 is 13 stories from the cracks. Things fall through the cracks, and we're going to try to retrieve them. So this is kind of a mini news dump, actually a major news dump. It's an avalanche. Let's put it that way. It's an avalanche. Number one story, Harris endorsements. We have avalanche of endorsements for Vice President Kamala Harris, including 88 major business leaders, over 200 Republicans, including former Vice President Dick Cheney and his daughter, former Congresswoman Liz Cheney. So, of course, Trump's endorsements have been, Tulsi Gabbard, who most people have never heard of, but she was a Democrat, but she's basically a Russian agent, and RFK Jr., who's insane. So Harris endorsements definitely taken over with the legitimacy of her candidacy and the fact that she kicked Trump's ass in the debate the other night. Number two story, speaking of debate, the fading clown lies. Yeah, the old man who just makes shit up. If I just do a rudimentary Google search on Trump lying, I get so many hits. And we can just say, claims from the debate, other fact checkers have found different. They found 33 lies, outright lies by Trump, and 1 by Harris. 33-1. We'll take that ratio. And of course, the lie by Harris, they had to split hairs to find it. Say, wait, this isn't the worst. She said it was the worst inflation since, the worst. She said we inherited the worst economy since the Depression, which wasn't technically true. She said the highest unemployment since the Depression, but I guess there have been peaks and valleys in the past since the Great Depression. So while it's technically not true, it's like not exactly out of the realm of wild speculation. Oh my God, because 14% unemployment is really high. I'm sorry. That's what Trump had during the pandemic because he mishandled it. And it was still at 6% when Biden and Harris took office. So that's the only lie they can find after Trump just basically makes shit up. Well, let's cover the lies. Maybe eating pets. That doesn't, that's not a thing happening, except one person in another place. But claimed people in Columbia, he said Haitian immigrants are eating pets in Springfield, Ohio, which is not true. He also called them illegal, which are not illegal. There's no evidence this is happening. Other claims, people are coming to the U.S. from prisons and asylums. There's absolutely no evidence to support millions of people coming. Tariffs are an attack. That's another thing. Tariffs are attacks. Yeah. Tariffs are attacks. Here's the thing. When you pass tariffs on a country, the importers pay the tax. The people who import the goods pay the tax. They don't just go, oh no, I'm going to pay that tax and never pass it on to anyone. No, the importers pass it on to the consumers. That's what happened. So when you raise tariffs...
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, what the idea behind it, right, is that you make tariffs so that importers don't want to import you anymore. That's the idea, right? I'm not going to import that anymore because I have to pay tariffs on it, so I'm going to look for something where I don't have to do that. That's the idea behind it.
Well, yeah, the tariffs is protectionism. It's like, we're protecting American jobs because those things are made in the United States. But you know what? iPhones are not made in the United States. They have to be imported. Almost everything we got that's electronic has to be imported. And the people that import them aren't going to just take the loss. They're not going to go, oh, I just got a huge excise tax from my importing company. Yeah. Let me just swallow the cost and go out of business.
Yeah.
No, they raise their prices. And another thing that happens is foreign countries retaliate by doing embargoes, which is what China did on wheat during the Trump administration, and Trump had to bail out the farmers. So not only did China find another place, Brazil, to buy their wheat, the United States had to dip into our treasury and bribe farmers so they wouldn't mutiny against the administration. So yeah, tariffs are a bad idea. They were tried in the Great Depression and they just made it worse. Anyway, Trump is a fading clown. He's fading fast. He's really old. I don't know why anybody thinks he's going to be anything but less coherent as time goes by. He's not going to get better, folks. He's not going to get better. Okay, number 3 has to do with Trump again. And it is Haitians are in Springfield, Ohio, legally. That's right. They are refugees. They are political and economic refugees, and a great many of them have jobs. And I can link to a story here about Haitian immigrants. Let's go find it. It says how Haitian immigrants fuel Springfield's growth. And it says it's from Reuters.com. It's 10 to 12 minutes. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but we're gonna note that 15,000 immigrants from Haiti roughly the last three years has reshaped the city of 58,000, offering some promise of economic revival along with growing pains. It has unwillingly thrust Springfield in the middle of a national conversation about immigration, the fake claims of people eating pets. But the people in the Haitians in Springfield, at least, and you want to keep in mind, the number one state, here's a question for you. Do you know the number one state with Haitian ancestry? What state would that be? Just a wild guess.
No.
Florida.
Florida.
The closest state to all of the Caribbean, is Florida. And they have the most Haitians, they have the most, just about anybody for Caribbean, right? They have the most Cubans, for instance, right? So there's probably hundreds of thousands of voters of Haitian descent in Florida, which could be a swing state this year because Trump's doing so poorly among immigrants that all them Haitian people might just vote for Harris now because, hey, he hates us. You guys hate us, we're not going to vote for you. Anyway, so there's your Haitians are here legally. And our good news, the economic news that everybody's glossing over is inflation and gas prices are down. Oh yeah, they're down. They're down. Inflation dipped to 2.5% last month in August, and that is the lowest of this administration. And that is going to be let's see. I missed that story. Where's my inflation story? Well, I guess I don't have an inflation story. I thought I had one. Oh, there it is. Gas prices plummet, helping lead inflation cool down in August. Falling gasoline prices, this is from FinanceYahoo.com. Falling gas prices along with the rest of the energy complex contributed to decelerating annual inflation rate in August. The gasoline index declined 0.6% last month compared to a rise of 0.1% the prior month, according to Bureau of Labor Statistics data released Wednesday. On an annualized basis, gas prices fell 10.3%, while energy index dropped 4%. The consumer price index rose 2.5% over the prior last year, decelerating from July's 2.9%, annual gain. Overall headline inflation rose 0.2% in August, the same increase as the prior month. So the good inflation news, and we're probably going to get an interest rate drop that corresponds to that news. Our next story, Hurricane Francine. Hurricane Francine is off the coast of, it's in the Gulf of Mexico. Actually, it's probably in Louisiana by now. Warm water Gulf of Mexico helped quickly strengthen Hurricane Francine, creating danger for Louisiana residents rushing by to buy supplies and secure their homes ahead of the storm's landfall Wednesday. Warm ocean water is essential for forming and strengthening hurricanes. Heat helps water evaporate faster. So, Hurricane Francine burned down in Mississippi and Louisiana at this hour. And who's eating cats? Who's eating dogs? Well, there is an actual story about a woman who ate a cat, and it's in Ohio, but she's not Haitian and she's not an immigrant.
She's just hungry.
So, it's an American citizen. I won't even give her name. I'm sorry, what?
She's just hungry, man.
Well, yeah.
There are people starving in the United States.
Probably insane. But, like, I would like to say, within like a week where another school shooting is taking place. Oh no, there's school shooting. Let's get outraged about something that didn't even happen and invent something that didn't even happen. But this actually happened, and this lady ate a cat, apparently. I was accused of it, and I won't even, like I said, I won't mention her name. Canton, Ohio, and an American citizen. But again, why are we, instead of actually solving real problems, we have politicians like Trump just trying to invent problems so you can hate immigrants, and that's all it comes down to. And U.S. defense news, the United States has found out that Iran is supplying Russia with missiles.
Woo! That's right. I love missiles. They go zoom, zoom to the sky.
That's right.
So
that's
fun.
because missiles are the clean way to fight a war. You just launch a missile and just forget about it, right?
You don't even need to think about you're murdering people, you know? You just blast off and you don't see it land anywhere. It's great.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
We're being sarcastic.
That's right. We are.
For any people who don't know sarcasm.
The U.S. Department of Defense says, hey, you know what? Iran just wants to be on every war, right? They're involved in the Gaza war, they're selling missiles to Russia.
You know, while they're making all those weapons, they've got to use it somewhere, you know?
Israel is assassinating people inside their country. What's that? Go ahead.
They're making all those weapons, they've got to use them.
That's right. What good's all that war machine if you can't churn out weapons? And then, I don't know, maybe sad news, former Peru President Fujimori died, if you want to read his biography. Peru's Alberto Fujimori, divisive head of political dynasty, dies at the age of 86. This is from Reuters. Former Peruvian President Alberto Fujimori, who steered economic growth during the 1990s, was later jailed for human rights abuses stemming from a bloody war against Maoist rebels, died on Wednesday. He was 86. So a former world leader. He was a Asian American. And I guess he escaped to Japan after he was indicted. Anyway, he has passed away. Asian South American president. Number 9 story. Rich nations have Mpox vaccines. Will they share with Africa? Rich countries have, this is also from Reuters, Jennifer Rigby, Julie Steinhausen. We talk about Mpox, monkeypox. For some reason, they don't want to call it monkeypox. Don't ask me why. Fewer than 4 million doses pledged out of the needed 18 to 22 million. And the new strain has spread to 14 African countries. To me, okay, we're this rich country. We got all these vaccines. Don't bring that disease here. But you can stop the disease where it's spreading. Get them vaccinations out there.
Yeah, you know how like we got rid of whooping cough? It's the same idea. You just nobody has it. You can't catch it anymore.
Polio.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, all you rich countries, I don't know what you're waiting on. You can make more vaccines while you're, maybe you can even sell them, right? You don't all make money. You're all greedy. Feds, number 10, Feds seize website domains. This is from justice.com. We'll do a quick read. Federal authorities seize over 350 website domains used to import illegal switches and silencers from China. Federal authorities on Boston seized more than 350 internet domains are illegally used to illegal importation of switch and silencers. Switches are parts designed to convert semi-automatic pistols into fully automatic machine guns, and silencers are a device used to suppress the sound of a firearm when discharged. Possessions of these items and importation from certain countries, including China, are prohibited under the National Firearms Act. According to the court documents, on August 23, federal authorities began targeting multiple websites, businesses, individuals selling, offering, sale, importing, and exporting machine gun conversion devices in violation of federal law. So they seized their website domains. Your domain no longer works. If you clicky on there, you get one of them 404 things.
Can't be found.
No clicky for you morons that want to just mass execute people because you're having a bad day or whatever the fuck your problem is.
Yeah, you don't need a machine gun to protect your house unless you get attacked by the government, which I think is what some people believe.
Speaking of shooters, the Appalachia shooter, the one in Georgia last week, is just as school went into session. The 13-year-old, his father's been arrested and detained, so he's going to be detailed of bail, I think. So yeah, he bought his son, 13, who is now 14. Last year, he bought him an AR-15 for Christmas. Even though the FBI, he was already on the FBI's troubled persons system, or whatever their list is. So this guy go to prison for the rest of his fucking life. You don't buy a 13-year-old AR-15. I don't give a fuck who the hell you are. What is a 13-year-old in an AR-15? Just a clue. Just somebody told me.
I heard from that story that the mom tried to call the school. It was like, yo, my son's coming over to do a massacre. But because he had a similar name to another student, so there was a mix-up. I mean, to be fair, schools have a lot of people in them, so. But
in this case, the school security did their job and actually stopped the shooting. In this case, right? Not like Uvalde, where they just sat there and maybe he'll run out of bullets. Yeah. Fucking sick bastards. Anyway, the need to shoot somebody for some reason exists in America where it doesn't exist anywhere else. Canada has just as many guns as America, as the United States. Canada doesn't have the mass shootings we have. Of course, Canada has restrictions when you buy a gun, right? You don't go and get... First of all, you can't, like in Canada, you can't buy a handgun until they interview everybody you live with or have lived with in the last 10 years.
And one person says, do not give this guy a gun. Guess what? You're not getting one.
That's right. That guy threatened to shoot me. Oh, fuck no, he ain't getting one. So, our unreasonable gun laws allow a fucking moron to buy his 13-year-old, a friggin' AK-47, even though it's on the list. He's on a list, an FBI list already. So, what the fuck are the lists for? I have no idea. In better news, our first civilian spacewalk. A civilian, a non-NASA personnel, has never walked in space until a billionaire did it. First private spacewalk on Thursday, teaming up with SpaceX and during endeavor hundreds of miles above Earth. And his name is tech entrepreneur, tech bro, I guess you want to call it.
Tech bro.
Jared Isaacman, the first civilian to walk in space. And his crew waited until the capsule was depressurized before popping open the hatch. Isaacman emerged first, joining a small elite group of spacewalkers who until now had included only professional astronauts from a dozen countries. So congratulations to Tech Bro Jared for his spacewalk. Yay! What good's being rich if you can't walk in space? That's what I say. And there's a man been arrested for the line fire in Los Angeles. We did not forget that Los Angeles, the surrounding area, is on fire. So a man has been arrested. You want to give his name? I don't know. Let's see. No, doesn't have his name. Okay. So a man was arrested for the line fire as Los Angeles is very hot and very on fire. And it's not going to get better because it's beginning to be the fall season, and Southern California has those things called the Santa Ana winds, the hot winds from the south that are just going to fan those flames and make it worse. There's your 13 on Thursday. Back to you.
All right. Lots of stories we missed, and lots of them really important to know that they're going on. Okay. Mm-hmm. I've during the whole story, I've changed my look. And we are back with my glasses off, and I put my contacts on. I totally forgot to put my contacts on. I don't know what happened there, but usually I put them on before I get on, and then I just sat down and didn't do that. Oh, my camera disconnected from. Camera, come back. Don't do this. Oh, there we go. Okay, we're back. Right. For our next story, it is a culture segment, another long one. We're going to drone on about the VMAs. That's right. I didn't know they were happening because I don't watch television, but they happened, and a lot of things got done, and Taylor Swift won all the awards, probably. This is from Adrian Horton on The Guardian. Taylor Swift has once again dominated the MTV Video Music Awards because the most decorated solo artist becoming the most decorated solo artist at the VMAs of all time after winning 7 categories, including the night's top award, Video of the Year. What video did she release? I've never thought any of Taylor Swift's videos are interesting, but maybe she released a good one. I have no idea. Swift, who was already the most nominated artist at the start of the evening, ended it by surpassing Beyonce's record set as a solo artist, winning her 30th VMA. Beyonce has won 25 VMAs as a solo artist, 2 with Destiny's Child, and 2 with Jay-Z as the Carters, accepting the first of the 7 wins on yesterday, the 11th of September. Best collaboration with Post Malone for their duet Fortnite. The 34-year-old singer opened the evening by acknowledging the anniversary of 9/11. Oh wait, that's a good point. They had the VMAs on 9/11. Man, we're in a different time now. Back in the 2010s, you would never have anything happening on 9/11. You'd be like, don't do anything. No fun today. Everyone feel bad. But now we're in the era where there's people.
Yeah, I was reading.
Sorry?
I was going to read an article about they banned these songs in 9/11.
Oh, yeah. There's
like 4 totally innocent songs that were banned. Like Travelin' Band by CCR was banned from the airway. First sign said, the first line of the song is 737 coming out of the sky is the first song.
Oh, God, no.
Oh, no, that's going to remind people.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. But yeah, we're living in a society now where there's children, actually now adults now, I think most of them are 20 now, that were not alive when 9/11 happened. They live in a post 9/11 world is how academics want to say it. So yeah, I guess we just don't care anymore, which is fine. It's a tragic event, but we don't need to get tied down by it for the rest of our lives. So she gave a speech about that.
Pearl Harbor, so.
Yeah. Megan Thee Stallion presided over the ceremony at Long Island's UBS Arena, which marked 40 years of the VMAs, or the voluptuous Megan Award, as she put it. The host honored past VMA moments, including Britney Spears' I'm a Slave for You live snake outfit, and performed songs Boa, Hiss, and Mamushi with Japanese rapper Yuki Chiba. Though Eminem opened the show with an army of Slim Shady doppelgangers evoking his 2000 VMA performance, the 2024 awards belong to the women, as they always do. The pop world belongs to women. If there's anything we own, it's the pop music industry, okay? The only place where we own something, and to be honest, those women who own the pop industry are just owned by some men who basically take all their money and then give them the pennies after they've used them up. So that's the reality of the music industry. Ascendant star Sabrina Carpenter sang "Please, Please, Please, Please" from a glittery swing, kissed an alien for taste, and teased a squad of astronauts as she performed Espresso, which won Song of the Year. "This is really special," Carpenter said while accepting her first ever VMA. "I just feel so grateful to have truly the best fans in the world. And thank you to that, that's a weird, and thank you to that me espresso." That was a sentence. I don't know what she really said, but that's what they wrote down as her quote. Lisa, the resident rapper of Blackpink, who famously wore blackface for her album, I will call her out on that. Koreans need to stop wearing blackface. It's really weird. Won Best K-pop for her solo song Rockstar, while Brazilian artist Anitta won Best Latin for Mil Vezes. South African artist Tyla won the male-dominated category of Best Afrobeats with her hit Water. That's right, a woman won a male-dominated category. The global impact the water has on the world just proves that African music can be pop music too, Tyla said, though she noted the award was bittersweet because there's a tendency to group all African artists under Afrobeats. African music is so diverse. It's more than just Afrobeats. I agree with you, but same thing with K-pop. Yeah, I won K-pop. You did a hip-hop album. That's not K-pop, that's hip-hop. It should be K-hip-hop. You want to be language specific. For the 7th consecutive year, women won the Knight's Lifetime Achievement Prize, the Video Vanguard Award, which this year went to Katy Perry. Her husband, actor Orlando Bloom, introduced her on stage before she performed a medley of her biggest hits, including Dark Horse, E.T., California Girls, Teenage Dream, I Kissed a Girl, and Firework. Wait, not Tiger? That's weird. She didn't perform that one. I thought that one was a big song. Perry skated above the critical backlash to Women's World, saying, "There are so many things that have to align to have a long and successful career as an artist. There are no decade-long accidents." Perry thanked her family, the LGBTQ community, and MySpace, Warped Tour, and all the bygone places where I found a voice, identity, and a community so early on. "I'm excited when I look around music today and see all the amazing young artists who are operating with confidence, agency, vulnerability, and authenticity," she continued. "One of the biggest reasons I'm standing here right now is I learned to block out the noise that every single artist has to constantly fight, especially women." Speaking of really strong women who tell people to shut the fuck up, rising star Chappelle Roan won Best New Artist, dedicating her win to all the drag artists who inspire me and queer and trans people that fuel pop. Reading from her diary on stage, the Missouri native added, "And to all the queer kids in the Midwest watching right now, I see you. I understand you because I am one of you. And don't ever let anyone tell you that you can't be exactly who you want to be, bitch." That's right. Roan's fellow nominee Benson Boone, a 2020-year-old, actually started crying. That wasn't me doing a voice. I actually started crying reading that. Okay, I'm getting emotional. Okay. 22-year-old singer-songwriter who blew up on TikTok, Benson Boone, also made his award show debut with "Please Stay," the crescending, including multiple onstage flips and a falsetto-heavy performance, echoed Shawn Mendes, who returned from a public hiatus with his new song "Nobody Knows." Lenny Kravitz provided a masterclass in rockstar charisma with a 3-song medley, while fellow veterans LL Cool J and Public Enemy joined forces for a medley of old school hits to honor the groundbreaking hip-hop label Def Jam. Yeah, Def Jam Records going into history. But the night, as usual, belonged to Swift, who capped off the evening by becoming the only artist to ever win the Night's Top Award, Video of the Year, 5 times. She shouted out, "My boyfriend Travis," to deafening screams. "Everything this man touches turns to happiness and fun and magics, but I want to thank him for adding that to our shoot." To the fans, "I'm always trying to figure out a way to say thank you for making my life what it is," she concluded, before following up on her endorsement of Kamala Harris for U.S. President. "If you are over 18, please register to vote for something else that's very important." I did see a graph on social media, which, take that with a bit of salt because I don't know the source of the graph, but it showed voter registration down here, and then after Taylor Swift's speech, it going like huge spike. So supposedly, not saying celebrities aren't positive influence on the world, but supposedly she has influenced a lot of people to actually register to vote, because you do need to do that. You don't just get your free voting card because you exist in America. You need to tell them you actually are interested in voting. Not the case in here in the Netherlands. You can vote as long as you have an ID card. They don't care if you register. Oh, you live here.
That's right.
This way, please. But not the case in America. So please register to vote if you care, because I'm sure you do care.
Yeah, register
about
to
what's
vote.
happening. So
you should vote for the Senate this year.
Yeah.
In Maryland, because it's a contested race.
Well, as an immigrant in Europe, I do want to point out that if you're living or an expat, whatever you want to call yourself, make sure you also register to vote for that early voting. Because you can register for early voting where you get your ballot like a month before the actual voting, so that it can actually get there in time to be counted. Unfortunately, for the most part, expats are considered in their own place, their own electorate.
Well, the military is the number one. The military is the number one absentee ballot voting block, right?
Mm-hmm.
Trump wants to get rid of voting by mail, which is everybody in the military.
Yes.
Everybody in the military votes by mail. You're never in your home frickin' station. It's almost never true. So almost every, I'd say 99% of the military active duty vote by mail. Trump wants to
they're not going to, like, for voting day, they're not going to say, all right, everyone go home on voting day. They're not going to do that, you know?
You're in
Germany. Germany's the most common place.
You're in Guam. You're not going to be able to vote in your home district, you know? You're out on a ship. You're not voting in your home district, you know? Okay.
They're going to the mess hall on your ship, and they're saying, all right, everyone, give me your ballots, and then they send them off on a freaking mail carrier somewhere. That's what they do, you know?
That's not how it works. It's individual thing, individual envelopes, individual states.
Yeah, I know. I'm just making a joke. Like, just going in the mess hall and collecting ballots. All right, guys, give me your ballots. Put in this mail sack. But that's my story.
Taylor Swift doing her part, and don't forget Kanye West votes.
Go support your LGBTQ people, and stop hating trans people. That's my message as well. Can't believe I cried reading that quote from Chappelle Roan. And let's do this day in history.
This day in history. It's a short one, and it's infamous one. So it's only 28 seconds, so you shouldn't have to do any editing as long as it loads for you. And this day in history, let's get on with that. This day in history is September 12th. September 12th in the year 1683, the Siege of Vienna ended after a combined force led by John III Sobieski of Poland defeated the Turkish invaders. That was around the end of Parthenon, no, wasn't it? Or was that 1500s? 1733, Stanislaw I was elected to Poland by Sejm, or Diet of Warsaw. The move led War of Polish Secession. That was in 1733. 1814, the Geneva Republic was admitted to the ranks of the Swiss cantons. Hey, we've been to Geneva.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
1919, Italian nationalist poet. Yeah. I don't remember a lot of it, but I was there, right? It was a great train ride through the mountains. Italian nationalist poet Gabriele D'Annunzio, on this day in 1919, led an occupation of the Adriatic port city of Fiume, which is now called Rijeka, Croatia. Rijeka? Right, made that J silent. Bringing it to the forefront of the Fiume question. Ooh, the Fiume question. That's a question. Doesn't have an answer. 1934, in the state Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania signed the Treaty of Understanding and Cooperation provided for mutual defense, mainly against Nazi Germany, which had replaced the Soviet Union as the most likely aggressor against the Baltic states. Man, poor Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, they're always in that sandwich, aren't they? Always. Between the East and the West. 1940, in Montagnac, France, 4 teenage boys found in the La Sac cave, which contains one of the most outstanding displays of prehistoric art ever discovered. 4 teenage boys. Okay. Were they teenage boys from the contemporary times, or were they ancient paleontology discoveries or archaeology discoveries?
I think it was 4 teenage boys happened upon the whatever, the area, and they're like, whoa, what is this?
They found the list. Okay, the 4 teenage boys found the Les Cox cave. Okay, got it. It contains one of the most outstanding. I can't read. I was reading as if 4 teenage boys were found in a cave. I'm like, really? Anyway, the 4 teenage boys found the cave, the Les Cox cave in Montagnac, France. I don't know if that's pronounced. And it has a lot of really outstanding prehistoric art. The horses look like they're drawn by a child, but you know what? They probably didn't have the best lighting, let's say. I don't know. 1943 is this day, German commandos effected the escape of Benito Mussolini to Munich during World War II. Of course, Mussolini did not survive World War II. He was hung by his feet by a mob in Italy. So that didn't really work out too well for him. 1953 also was mistress. I guess, was also murdered, which I'm just a mistress. 1953, U.S. Senator and future President John F. Kennedy married Jacqueline Bouvier in Newport, Rhode Island. So happy anniversary to the Kennedys. 1959, the Soviet Union launched Luna 2, the first space probe to hit the moon. It hit the moon and moved it 5 inches to the left. I don't know what it did. Just before I was born, 1959. Also in this, the TV series Bonanza premiered. It became one of the longest running westerns in broadcast history. Anyway, 1966, the sitcom The Monkees premiered, featuring pop rock group fashion after the Beatles. Debuted on American television, although canceled after 2 seasons. The show enjoyed an enduring popularity and syndication, backed by such hit songs as "I'm a Believer." The Monkees were pretty good, I gotta say. I mean, they weren't really playing on their records, but they did have a lot of quality songs by quality composers, and the show was pretty fun. 1974, Emperor Haile Selassie of Ethiopia was deposed by Derg, a committee of revolutionary soldiers. Haile Selassie, the deity of Rastafarianism. Right, Bob? You said it right. Anyway, 1977, South African activist Steve Biko died from injuries suffered while in police custody. He subsequently became an international martyr for South African black nationalism. Biko, of course, the Peter Gabriel wrote a song called Biko about him, and it further intensified everybody's distaste for South Africa and apartheid, and led to the end of apartheid, the freeing of Nelson Mandela, and all kinds of reforms in South Africa. So way to go, Peter Gabriel. Let's give him all the
Peter.
credit.
Now that's what you call a white ally.
Way to go, buddy. That's right. And don't forget Little Steven. Now, Little Steven, you might think he's crazy.
But he did
actor,
help.
musician, former E Street Band. But again, Little Steven. Of course, the actor from Sopranos and Lilyhammer, that Netflix series. Little Steven, also a great guitar player and humanitarian. Doesn't get enough credit. But Little Steven, Peter Gabriel, waking people up. 1980, in this day, the senior command of the Turkish army, led by General Kenan Everett, carried out a bloodless coup in their homeland. A bloodless coup! And of course, Turkey has totally solved all their problems. Not really. In 1992, astronaut Mae Jemison became the first African-American woman to fly in space, part of the STS-47 Space Lab J mission. So another, what do you want to call it, Barrier broken. 2003 is a sad day. Johnny Cash passed away. Country music legend Johnny Cash is craggy. Baritone, simple poetics, hard-won integrity, and advocacy for the dispossessed transformed him into an American icon. Died at the age of 71, about less than a year after his wife died. So he's probably just died from not having any real interest in life anymore, is what I would think. He was only 71, not terribly old, but he did do a lot of harm to his own body. In 2014, this is not an American. 2014 on this day, politician Ian Paisley, who is a militant Protestant leader in the factional conflict that divided Northern Ireland from the 1960s until the 21st century, died at the age of 88. So a guy who was standing in the way of actual peace. Oh well. And our featured event in 1764, on this day, death of French composer Rameau, a French composer of the late Baroque period, Jean-Philippe Rameau, known for his harpsichord music and famous composer of operas, including the masterpiece Misleading, died on this day in 1764. It does not say how old he was, but this is the day he died. He sang that American Pie song. This'll be the day that I die. He was a composer. On this feature biography, Jesse Owens. Happy birthday to Jesse Owens, Olympic gold medalist and person who showed Hitler that you're not the best race. Ha ha. On September 12th, 1913 is his birthday. He's born in Danville, Alabama. Died March 31st, 1980 in Tucson, Arizona at the age of 66. Man, I don't like these ages these people are dying at, man. It makes you feel like, people just live them.
Death is coming for you,
Other
man.
birthdays today,
Yeah,
H.L.
sadly.
Mencken, American writer.
It's always coming.
It's coming for everybody. Man.
Yeah, that's true. It is.
Yeah. Even Jesse Owens. 1880 is the birthday of H.L. Mencken, American writer. We already covered Jesse Owens. Louis C.K., American comedian, writer, and director, and producer. Born in 1967 is his birthday. Yao Ming, Chinese basketball player who I believe is 7'7". Well, it's his birthday today. He was born in 1980, so happy 44 to Yao. And Jennifer Hudson, American actress and singer, born in 1981. Happy birthday to Jennifer Hudson. And she has her own talk show host. She's a talk show host now. It says American actress and singer. She's a talk show host also. National Day Calendar. There's a lot of things today. It's a lot of things. It's Day of the Programmer. It's kind of like Day of the Dolphin or Day of the Jackal. Day of the Programmer. Day of the Programmer. It's Day of the Programmer, everybody. So make room. It's the 256th day of the year, which I think is symbolic of digital logic, right? Because, right, there's 16 hexadecimal numbers, right? Right? So 16 times 16 is 256, I believe. I could be wrong. Yeah, I believe that's right. Yes. 16 times 16 is 256. So I think that's numerically significant, and that's why Day of the Programmer is the 256th day of the year. I swear to you, that seems logical to me. I don't know why. Is my math right? Is that what 16 times 16 is?
I don't know. I'm not a math whiz, so you're going to have to do it yourself.
You don't need to be a math whiz to know that.
I'm not good. I'm only good at my 12
right.
multiples, and then that stops there.
Don't worry, my brain's a calculator. 16.
Okay.
16 times 16 is 256. I did it in my head. So that's why. That's why the 256th day is programming day. I was able to decipher why. Ha 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 ha. There are 16 hexadecimal numbers, right? Instead of binary, you gotta think in base 16. Anyway, never mind. It's also National Video Games Day, which kind of goes into programming, right? And National Chocolate Milkshake Day. And the picture they have looks like chocolate milkshake, but instead of like just being heavy on the chocolate and mixing it together, they just poured a bunch of chocolate on top, which Wow. That makes it worse to me. National School Picture Day today. So it's that day where, I don't know, you can basically take a school picture at home these days and have it high quality. So you're basically making some company some money that goes to the schools and, basically blackmails you to get your picture taken with your kid. Oh, the other kids are doing it. Oh, emotional blackmail. Got it. So it's second Thursday in September is National School Picture Day. It's also National Report Medicare Fraud Day. National Just One Human Family Day. Again, I think Just One Human Family probably a reaction to something, probably 9/11. Yeah. It's National Hug and High Five Day, so high five! High five!
Woohoo! Well, I guess
and it's National... And it's... Oops, I hit something. Okay. National Day of Encouragement. Yes, you can, it says. Yes, you can. You can! Encourage people. So those are your days for September 12th, 2024 on Before Chocolate Milkshakes.
Okay, this has been Allison here from the Netherlands, who I guess I'm going to go make a chocolate milkshake later. And we are... This has been Thursday's 13th episode where we looked at all those stories that we missed out on. That went under the radar. And tomorrow will be our Friday news dump where we're gonna finish off the week with all the news stories we care about talking about. So make sure you subscribe and turn on those notifications so you know when that episode is being launched / when it's posted. And of course, like this video if you enjoyed learning all the stuff that's happened. There's so many things. I mean, this was more of I think this is going to be the news dump compared to Fridays. Anyways, we will see you when we see you. Let's go to our mic drop moment.
Music, so thank you so much for giving me a chance to win a VMA.
One of those memorable VMA moments.
15. Yep.
I'm really happy for you. I'm going to let you finish. But Beyonce had one of the best videos of all time.
It's like she's like, please do not call me out on stage right now.
He was still millionaire back then. Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels: Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy.